Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. Lansdowne Park belongs to the people of Ottawa, and today we have great news about the future of Lansdowne. La grande nouvelle d'aujourd'hui, c'est que Lansdowne 2.0 coûtera beaucoup moins cher que prévu. The big news today is that Lansdowne 2.0 will cost us much less than we thought it would when the plan was approved by City Council 2 years ago. The actual construction cost is lower than we forecast. The total project cost is lower than we forecast. And the actual revenues from the air rights are much higher than we forecast. That means the annual investment in Lansdowne will be about $4.3 million a year, compared to the $5 million that was budgeted in 2023. Ottawa taxpayers should be very encouraged by this news. In addition, the Lansdowne project will generate much more money for affordable housing than originally expected. Le projet Lansdowne générera beaucoup plus de revenus pour le logement abordable que ce qui avait été prévu au départ. In 2023, we estimated that it would produce $9.75 million for affordable housing. The actual number is now almost $5 million more, for a total of $14.4 million. And Lansdowne will be a LEED Silver project. The new event center will be 36% more energy efficient and reduce greenhouse gas intensity by 31% compared to the existing arena. The report being published today shows that the actual construction cost, based on the bids received from contractors, will be $313 million. That's less than the Class A estimate of $316 million. That means the total project value will be $418.8 million, less than what was estimated 2 years ago. And the actual revenue from air rights, based on bids received from builders, will be $65 million, which is $26 million higher than the $39 million we estimated 2 years ago. Je tiens à souligner que les chiffres publiés aujourd'hui dans le rapport du personnel ne sont pas des estimations. I want to emphasize that the numbers are being published today in the report from staff are not estimates, but the contracted amounts based on bids secured from contractors and builders. All of this confirms that Lansdowne is a terrific investment for the people of Ottawa. Contrary to the misunderstandings and misinformation that has been spread in the community, Lansdowne is a great deal for taxpayers. Contrairement aux malentendus et à la désinformation qui circulent dans la communauté, Lansdowne représente une excellente opportunité pour les contribuables. It's a great deal because we never get opportunities like this. When we invest in city infrastructure like community centers and swimming pools and hockey arenas and libraries, we pay 100% of the construction cost, and we pay 100% of the operating expenses. There's no offsetting revenue to help us cover the costs. A great example is our wonderful new downtown public library at Asoke. Taxpayers are contributing almost all of the construction cost, which is $338 million. And when the facility opens, taxpayers will pay almost all of the operating costs for the new facility. We all agree that's a great investment for our community. We're all looking forward to Adesoke being open. Lansdowne is an even better deal. With this project, taxpayers are investing less than 1/3 of the construction cost, and taxpayers are covering 0% of the operating cost. So for every dollar we invest in Lansdowne, we'll get more than $3 of value. So let's be abundantly clear. The cost of this project to taxpayers is not $419 million or $500 million, as some people have been saying. When all the revenues generated by the project are counted, the net cost to taxpayers is much less than that. The investment from taxpayers will be about $130 million. Avec tous les revenus générés par le projet, le coût net pour les contribuables sera de seulement 130 millions de dollars pour un projet qui en vaut 418 millions. So we get more than $400 million in benefits for an investment of $130 million. That's a lot of value. We get brand new north side stands. We get a brand new event center, a much more environmentally friendly facility, and millions of dollars toward affordable housing, all at less than 1/3 of the total cost. On an annual basis, that works out to about $4.3 million. That's less than we spend in operating costs for a typical suburban recreation center like the Walter Baker Center. And that funding comes from existing budgets, meaning there is no tax increase arising from this project. Ce financement vient des budgets existants, ce qui veut dire qu'il n'y a pas d'augmentation d'impôts liée à ce projet. Also, if we get support from the provincial government through their sports facilities fund later this year, the annual cost will go down even further. And unlike almost all of our other public facilities, we won't pay the operating costs for Lansdowne going forward. They will be paid by the partnership that has protected taxpayers from risk for more than a decade. To put it in simple terms, imagine if you had the opportunity to buy a $418,000 house for only $130,000. That's not the down payment. That's the actual cost of the house to you, a $418,000 house for a price of $130,000. And the annual payment for you to buy that house works out to about $4,300 per year. Again, that's acquiring something worth $418,000 for an annual cost of only $4,300. Now, imagine if the alternative to making that deal was that you had to pay $8,000 or $10,000 a year or more, and that you received absolutely nothing in return for that. Because let's be clear, doing nothing doesn't cost nothing. Doing nothing at Lansdowne will cost us more. Ne rien faire à Lansdowne nous coûtera plus cher. We'll continue to have crumbling facilities with portable toilets and inaccessible seating. We'll continue to have a facility that wastes energy and is bad for the environment. We'll get no new money for affordable housing. The operating costs will continue to rise. We'll miss out on teams and events and revenues in the future. We'll miss out on 4,900 jobs being created. The annual cost to taxpayers will grow to as much as $8 to $10 million a year, and we'll get nothing in return. Si nous ne faisons rien, le coût annuel pour les contribuables pourrait grimper jusqu'à 8 à 10 millions de dollars par année, et nous n'obtiendrons rien en retour. Let's remember that before 2014, Lansdowne was costing taxpayers $5 million a year, and we were getting nothing in return for that. Let's not go back to that. And we know what happens when we wait too long to fix aging infrastructure. Look at 24 Sussex Drive. It used to be the home of the Prime Minister. Now it's filled with rats, and it's going to cost $100 million or more to replace. Il est vraiment important que nous disons la vérité au sujet de Lansdowne. It's really important that we tell the truth about Lansdowne to counteract the misinformation campaign that is underway. Let's remember that a very small group of people were opposed to the original plan a decade ago. They said it wouldn't work. And in fact, it was a great success. We went from 250,000 visitors a year to more than 4 million. Lansdowne is now a vibrant attraction in our city. It creates jobs. It brings events to Ottawa. It's great for tourism and economic development. Unfortunately, some of that same small group of people who opposed the Lansdowne plan 10 years ago are fighting against it again. Malheureusement, certaines des mêmes personnes qui s'étaient opposées au plan Lansdowne il y a 10 ans s'y opposent de nouveau. And look, it's okay to have your own opinion. But because the facts aren't on their side, some of them are spreading misinformation. They're deliberately misleading and twisting the facts. They're saying the city will pay the entire cost of construction and that we're taking money away from other priorities. That's simply not true. Let's not listen to the people spreading false information. They were wrong last time and they're wrong this time. Lansdowne 2.0 is a great opportunity for our city. It's a chance to get brand new public facilities for a fraction of the cost. It's a chance to bring more people and events to Ottawa and create more jobs. It's a chance to build more homes, including more affordable homes. It's a chance to protect taxpayers and have more money to invest in other priorities. C'est une occasion de construire davantage de logements, y compris plus de logements abordables. C'est une occasion de protéger les contribuables et de disposer de plus de ressources pour investir dans d'autres priorités. Imagine if we had the opportunity to turn back the clock to 10 years ago. Would we now say no to the plan that has brought us so many benefits? Would we want to go back to having crumbling facilities and a huge concrete parking lot with fewer and fewer events and greater financial risk? Does anyone wish we hadn't done that work? Does anyone wish we didn't have the new South Side stands or all the wonderful events like the Christmas market? Now imagine it's 10 years from now and we did nothing today when we had the chance. Would residents 10 years from now be grateful that the leaders of today rejected this opportunity and kicked the can down the road so the crumbling facilities remained, the economic opportunities declined, and there was a much greater cost of replacing obsolete facilities? In fact, the data from today's report shows if we delay replacing the deteriorating infrastructure, the cost to taxpayers will rise exponentially. It will go from $130 million today to more than $750 million in 10 years. We can't pass that burden on to the next generation. We must be smart and responsible now. That's our job. Let's not fall into the trap of blocking progress. Let's not waste taxpayers' dollars by letting construction costs rise or by missing out on a chance to get big value for money. This plan has already been through more consultations, hurdles, and approvals than any other project in Ottawa's history. Now it's time to move forward. The people of Ottawa expect us to make smart, responsible decisions and then get to work on the next priority. Les résidents d'Ottawa s'attendent à ce que nous prenions des décisions intelligentes et responsables et que nous commençons à travailler sur les prochaines priorités. If we wait, we'll spend more and we'll get less. If we invest now, we'll spend less and we'll get a lot more. Let's say no to higher operating costs, higher construction costs, higher risk for taxpayers, lost economic opportunity, less money for affordable housing, and NIMBYism. Let's say yes to economic growth and progress, huge savings on construction costs, zero operating expenses, less risk for taxpayers, and more affordable housing. Lansdowne 2.0 est l'occasion d'en avoir plus pour moins cher. Lansdowne 2.0 is an opportunity to get more for less. More modern and better facilities, more accessibility, more value, more events and attractions, more jobs, more economic development, more security for taxpayers, more housing, more affordable housing, more money for other priorities, less cost, less risk. If we do nothing, we'll get less and we'll pay more. Less money available for other priorities, less housing, less affordable housing, fewer events, fewer jobs, much more risk, and a much higher cost. Lansdowne belongs to the people of Ottawa. Lansdowne appartient aux résidents d'Ottawa. Let's not let it go to waste. Let's move forward instead of turning back. Let's invest wisely. Let's capitalize on this great opportunity, the opportunity to get more for less. Let's finish the job. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Good morning. Bonjour. Thank you for joining us for today's media availability. Merci de vous joindre à nous pour le point de presse d'aujourd'hui. I'll now invite each reporter to ask their questions in alphabetical order. You may ask one question with one follow-up. Nous allons maintenant répondre aux questions des médias par ordre alphabétique. Vous pouvez poser une question et une question de suivi. I'll start now with Arthur White-Crummy, CBC.
Hi.
Morning, Arthur.
Good morning. I just want to be totally clear on the final figure here. So you've talked about construction costs, you've talked about the total value. The most recent estimate we got had a global figure of 419 million. You're now saying 418.8. So this has stayed stable. We are essentially at the same number that we had 2 years ago, correct?
It's a little bit less than the previous number from 2 years ago, which is the total project cost. And then when you deduct all the revenues that will be produced from the project, then the net cost to taxpayers is $130 million.
Okay. Can you explain why you're having this press conference right now? Because this is a staff report. It's a staff recommendation that they've done a lot of work on. Why did you feel the need to get ahead of this politically in order to present it yourself?
This is an important project for the City of Ottawa. It's an important project for the residents of Ottawa. There's been a lot of information that's been in the community on this. Much of it has been misleading. And so I thought it was important. The report's going to come out within the next couple of hours. I thought it was important to make myself available to answer your questions, to put some information out there that's true and accurate, and to do it in a way that was suitable for your deadlines.
Could I just get one more fast?
Yeah.
Because those were quite quick. Can you explain how we managed to garner $25 million more for the air rights sale with the condo market being how it is right now? It seems difficult to believe.
Yeah, you'd have to speak to the proponents who made those bids. As you know, staff went out to the marketplace. They asked for submissions from builders who were interested in purchasing the air rights and developing towers on the site. There was significant interest. And I think we had a very conservative number 2 years ago, and that's been proven by the outcome that there's somebody who has agreed to pay $65 million for the air rights when we had budgeted at a conservative level $39 million, which is great news for the project. And it's also great news because it means more money for affordable housing.
Next, we have Kate Porter, CBC.
Morning, Kate.
Good morning, Mayor. As you're saying, this is a city-owned facility, and the number of seats is coming down quite significantly, although I notice a different number in here from what we've used before. And it's coming down by thousands, and yet there's going to be, premium seating and that sort of thing, and a ticket surcharge. So clearly, ticket prices will end up going up for people attending. What do you think is a reasonable or acceptable increase to ticket prices, given that, as you say, residents own this facility?
The residents of Ottawa own Lansdowne Park, and there are a lot of different things that happen at Lansdowne Park, not just the sports events. There's the Christmas market, the farmers market, lots of outdoor events and activities that take place. Lots of events take place that have very low ticket prices, and then there are professional and amateur sports events that take place on the site using the TD Place Arena or the stadium. The decisions about ticket prices are not made by the city. They're made by by OSEG, by the Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group. They understand the marketplace. They're in this business. They know what the right level of ticket price is to serve their constituents and their customers and to generate the biggest crowds for their events. So I'll leave that up to them to decide on future ticket prices.
This is not my follow-up question, but if it is our arena, it's a material point, right, that we will be contributing. So what if families get priced out with all these renos? But I've got another follow-up.
Well, look, I look at the attendance for the Ottawa 67s and the attendance for the Ottawa Red Blacks, the attendance for the Ottawa Charge, the attendance for the Ottawa Blackjacks. I don't think this is a huge difference for any of those teams compared to the kinds of crowds they've been drawing recently. So I think it's going to be a much better fan experience, not having to use portable toilets at a Red Blacks game, not having to worry about the roof leaking at a 67s game or at a national or international event. It'll be a much better experience for fans, much more like when they go to the Southside stands, the new Southside stands at Lansdowne. So I think it'll be a great experience, and I think there'll be room for everyone.
Okay, and then I know city staff never looked at any other sites for this. They only looked at Lansdowne because that's what they were directed to do at the time. But, we're seeing a really popular women's hockey league that is using all those seats. And what due diligence or explorations have you personally done to look at co-housing with the Sens at Le Breton and avoiding any kind of capital cost on the arena especially? Because we could just look at that and probably have some cost savings, given it's going to be happening at the same time.
What I've heard from the community, from the people who put on events, the experts who put on sports events, who attract events to our city like Ottawa Tourism, international and national sports events, the people in the arts and cultural sector who bring concerts and comedy shows and other events to our city, is that we need different types of facilities in the marketplace. We need an arena like Canadian Tire Centre that seats 17 or 18,000 people. We also need a facility that seats something in the range of 5,000 to 7,000 people. Nobody putting on an event with 3,000 or 4,000 spectators is going to want to hold that event in an 18,000 seat arena. The operating costs are too expensive and the atmosphere isn't right. So you need to have a medium-sized facility that caters to a sweet spot for certain activities, including lots of cultural events as well as sports. And then you need to have the big arena that's going to be for the stadium shows, for big concert tours, and for professional hockey like the Ottawa Senators. So we need to have both.
Have you ever spoken to the Sens about this?
I mean, again, have there been conversations about it? I can't remember, but it's clear we already have two different facilities. Look, just the other day we had a Senators game going on at the same time as a Red Blacks game. There are times when the 67s play on the same day as the Senators. There are times when we're hosting the World Curling Championships or the World, an international rugby match on the same day as there's another use for the Canadian Tire Centre, like a concert or a hockey game. So the people who understand this business, the people in the event business, in the sports business, have indicated to us that there is room in the marketplace for two facilities of different sizes to serve different purposes and different markets.
I'll let somebody
Thank you.
else get some questions in here. Thanks.
Next, we have Leah Larocque, CTV.
Hi, Leah.
Good morning. I'm just wondering what has changed. Is the plan for Lansdowne 2.0 in terms of the arena capacity, Northside stands, is it still going to look like what we thought it was going to look like? Because if it's going to cost significantly less, what are we giving up anything?
Nothing significant has changed from the previous plan. What's changed is we now know these are the final numbers for the construction cost, for the air rights revenue, for some of the other revenues that are going to be generated by the site. So what was a projection 2 years ago is now an actual set of numbers. So we know going forward what the construction cost will be. It's a fixed price contract. There's contingencies built into it. We know what the revenues will be, and so we can move forward with this plan, because what City Council approved 2 years ago with parameters and with expectations around certain numbers has proven in fact to be true. Those are the numbers that we're going to move forward with. If anything, the financial picture is better and stronger than it was 2 years ago. So I think we ought to and should move forward with this plan.
So, because the Auditor General did say that it was going to be more, so, and, we've seen a lot of costs go up in terms of inflation, cost of living, so I don't want to be skeptical, but how did you get to these numbers?
We put it out to the marketplace and we asked people to bid on the construction, and we got several bids, and all of them were very, very close to the projected Class A estimate that we had done at the city. So I think this validates the great work of city staff in projecting what the costs would be, what the construction costs would be. This is a little bit like if 2 years ago you and I were talking about building a cottage, and you said, oh, I think it's going to cost $200,000. I said, well, I think it's going to cost $250,000. And then we actually went out and got a builder to say, okay, here's the designs. How much would you be willing to build it for? And they come back and say, it's going to be $195,000. And I'm willing to sign a contract saying I'll build it for $195,000. At that point, the estimates from 2 years ago don't matter anymore, because we have a fixed price contract to proceed with a specific construction price. And it's a construction price that's lower than what we thought it was going to be 2 years ago.
Are you worried about a repeat, though, with the LRT? Because last time we went with the lowest bid, the city ran into some issues, to say the least.
There were 3 bids that came in all around the same price, give or take a few $1 million, and so that, I think, just indicates that the Class A estimates were accurate. And there are contingencies, significant contingencies built into this plan, so that if there, for any reason, are surprises, those will be covered by the contingencies. But it's a fixed price contract, so we'll proceed on that basis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Prochain, nous avons Julien Paquette-Ledoux.
Bonjour, Julien.
Oui, bonjour. Est-ce que j'ai bien compris que, dans le fond, le 313 millions, on parle d'un coût fixe?
Oui,
Donc, l'entreprise s'est engagée s'il y a des dépassements de coûts?
oui.
Parfait. Je pense que je suis un peu... Excusez, ça va, c'est pas pour moi.
Oui. Si vous avez une autre question dans quelques minutes, c'est
OK, merci.
Je suis ici.
Prochaine, Sébastien Pierrot-Ledoux.
Sébastien.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Juste pour clarifier, qu'est-ce que vous attendez exactement de la province de l'Ontario dans ce dossier?
Non, il n'y a pas nous n'attendons pas des fonds de gouvernement provincial dans ce plan. Alors, s'il y aura des fonds du gouvernement provincial, ça va améliorer les chiffres.
D'accord. Merci.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Next, we have Bruce Diekman, Post Media.
Morning, Bruce.
Hi. When it was $419 million and the AG came out with a report that said the city wasn't following its own guidelines for things like contingency fees and utility allowances, so presumably the price would have been higher, so the savings you have now, that you claim to have now, would be fairly huge. And I'm wondering specifically, where are those savings? Are there specific areas?
Well, again, I think we're comparing 2 different things here, right? So when if I were to say to you, what should somebody graduating from Carleton University with a journalism degree right now expect to earn at a job in journalism in 5 years? You'd take a guess at that, right?
Same as 10 years ago.
Yeah, not a lot, probably, but you take a guess at that. That's a guess. It's an estimate. Someone else may say, oh, Bruce's guess was way off. It should be $20,000 higher, it should be $20,000 lower. Those are when we're doing forecasts and estimates. What we have now is an offer.
Right, but where are the savings from that?
The savings are from the fact that the people who came forward with the offer are willing to build the project for that price.
Yeah, but are there specific areas where it's...
I don't think anything about the project has changed substantially from 2 years ago. That's not what happened. What happened is there were competitive bids. There was a competitive bidding process, and people came forward with submissions, and they were willing to build the project for the price that we anticipated.
Okay, and can I ask about the air rights? Who is the proponent offering $65 million?
That'll be in the report that'll be out shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, all the details about that are in the report.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, we have Aidan Helmer, Post Media.
Morning, Aidan.
Mr. Mayor. Further to the AG, the Auditor General had identified that there were some assumptions that were that the original dollar figure was based upon that had to do with team success, playoff revenues, things like that. And they put the risk of not achieving those assumptions somewhere between $10 to $30 million. Is that still part of this plan, and have there been any sort of contingencies that OSEG has agreed to?
So there is in the plan a detailed projection of revenues from the teams that will be playing at Lansdowne and from all the other sources of revenue. So when you see the report, all of that will be laid out in detail. Those projections carry out for a number of years, and yes, they're based on forecasts and assumptions, but I think that staff have worked hard to make sure that those are realistic and even in some cases conservative assumptions about the future. And based on all of that, there's a very strong financial model going forward that this plan will produce the revenues that we need to cover more than 2/3 of the cost of construction.
Okay, and just as a follow-up, you had the Premier here for a tour, and Minister Lumsden as well.
Yep.
Just wondering if there is any update on the discussions with the province as far as some financing from them.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I think I answered this in French maybe, but not in,
Yes.
I don't remember if I answered it in English, but we're not counting on any funds in the report today. We're not counting on any funds from other levels of government. So you may remember 2 years ago, there was a placeholder for $20 million in funding from other levels of government. That's not in the plan anymore. But if we do get help from other levels of government, that will improve the plan, improve the financial model. I did have a very good conversation with Premier Ford and with Minister Lumsden. We're led to believe that there is a new sports facilities fund that the province will be launching sometime in the coming months. I've indicated to them that we intend to make an application to that fund, and they've indicated to me that they think that that application will be well received. There's no guarantees in any of that, but we're going to put a very strong application in, and I expect that they will take a very good look at it. And if we get funds from the provincial government, that will improve the financial picture that much more.
Thank you.
Merci. Prochaine, nous avons Fatoumata Traore avec Radio-Canada.
Bonjour. Donc, si je comprends bien, au total, ça va être 418 millions de dollars. On parlait la dernière fois d'environ 420 millions. En quoi ça coûte vraiment moins cher, Lansdowne 2.0? Où vous avez coupé? Pourquoi aujourd'hui on a cette annonce pour dire que ça coûtera moins cher, ce projet?
Nous n'avons pas coupé rien. Alors, soyons clairs, les chiffres en 2023 sont les estimations. Maintenant, nous avons un contrat avec un développeur. Ça, c'est la différence. Ça, c'est les estimations quand on a des prévenus de les chiffres. Maintenant, c'est la vérité. C'est un contrat avec un développeur, une propriété de construction.
Très bien. Puis tout à l'heure, vous disiez qu'il y a des gens qui ont une mauvaise compréhension du projet, qui a un peu d'idées conspicues, qu'on ne comprend pas toujours. Qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire par là?
Alors, ça ne coûte pas 419 ou 420 ou 500 millions de dollars pour les résidents d'Ottawa. Parce que si nous n'avançons pas ce plan, nous n'aurons pas les revenus du plan. Alors, il y a 288 millions de dollars des revenus. Alors, les coûts vraiment pour la Ville d'Ottawa, pour les contribuables, c'est 130 millions de dollars parce que nous avons beaucoup de revenus. Et ce n'est pas le cas quand on investit dans les autres priorités comme les centres communautaires, les piscines, les arénas pour l'hockey. Tout cela, normalement, nous payons 100% des coûts pour la construction et pour l'exploitation des centres comme ça. Pour ce projet, nous payons 31% des coûts de construction et 0% pour les coûts d'exploitation. Alors, c'est une belle opportunité pour la Ville d'Ottawa.
Merci. Peut-être une dernière question. Vous savez, c'est la grève à la STO. Est-ce que vous avez peur que les bus dossiers transpo soient peut-être surchargés là parce que c'est la grève de l'autre côté de la rivière?
Oui, alors j'ai parlé avec l'équipe d'OC Transpo il y a quelques jours et ils ont dit qu'ils ont un plan pour pendant ce grève. Alors j'ai beaucoup de confiance qu'il aura des solutions pour les usagers de Gatineau.
Merci.
Merci. Dernière question. Prochaine est Kimilia La Liberté avec TVA.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Vous avez parlé tout à l'heure qu'il y a quand même encore des gens qui s'opposent au projet. Est-ce qu'il y en a plusieurs?
Je ne sais pas combien, mais nous savons qu'en 2014, il y avait des résidents qui sont opposés au plan et je pense que c'est les mêmes résidents maintenant qui s'opposent au plan. Mais c'est clair que c'est une bonne opportunité pour les résidents d'Ottawa. C'est une bonne opportunité d'améliorer Lansdowne, d'investir à Lansdowne et d'attraper beaucoup de valeur pour les résidents. Nous n'avons pas les opportunités comme ça chaque jour. Normalement, quand on investit dans les centres communautaires, c'est beaucoup plus cher. Nous payons 100% des coûts. Pour ce projet, c'est 31% des coûts. Alors, c'est une bonne opportunité pour les résidents d'Ottawa. Je sais que tout le monde n'est pas d'accord, mais je pense que c'est notre responsabilité de prendre la décision propre pour protéger les contribuables de la Ville d'Ottawa.
Vous avez parlé tantôt de logements abordables aussi qui allaient être construits. Comment vous allez convaincre les promoteurs de faire des logements abordables dans un quartier qui, on le sait, est quand même assez achalandé? Tu sais, c'est quand même un quartier reconnu, là.
Alors, les fonds pour les logements abordables ne seront pas dépensés à Lansdowne. Ils sont des fonds pour la Ville d'Ottawa de dépenser dans un autre quartier. Alors, nous avons prévu des fonds comme 9,5 millions de dollars en 2023 parce que les revenus sont plus hauts que ça. Maintenant, nous avons 14 millions de dollars pour les logements abordables pour investir dans la communauté, mais pas à Lansdowne.
Merci.
Merci.
Yeah. So, just to be clear, so in 2023, we estimated that the project would generate about $9.5 million in revenue for affordable housing. The plan was to invest that, as we invest other funds for affordable housing, in other places where it's most appropriate to spend that money, where there's the ideal projects where we can get the most value for money. And because the revenues are higher with the air rights for this project, significantly higher than we anticipated, that means that the contribution to affordable housing will now be $14.4 million rather than $9.5 million. So I think it was 9.75 is what we estimated before. So now it's 14.4 million that we'll be able to put towards affordable housing in the community. But not directly at Lansdowne. We'll invest that $14.4 million where it makes the most sense and where we'll have the greatest impact and we can build the most affordable homes.
Une dernière question à Julien Paquette.
J'essaie de comprendre la différence entre ce que vous nous annoncez, le coût total de construction à 313 millions et le projet qu'on présente comme un projet à 418 millions. Je vois les nouveaux revenus à 288 plus la contribution de la Ville à 130 millions. Ça donne 418. Donc, il y a un 105 millions quelque
Alors,
part.
il y a toujours les autres coûts avec le projet. Alors, nous avons déjà dépensé de l'argent pour le processus. Ce n'est pas seulement la construction de l'aréna et du stade, c'est aussi les autres coûts. Alors, les détails sont dans le rapport, mais il y a des autres coûts et ça, c'est ce que nous avons prévu en 2023 aussi, que les coûts de construction seront à peu près 316 millions de dollars avec les autres coûts ajoutés aussi.
Donc, comment ça coûte significativement moins cher que ce qui était prévu en 2023 si on est à peu près autour des mêmes chiffres?
Ça coûte moins cher parce que nous avons des autres revenus. Alors, l'investissement annuel pour les contribuables sera 4,3 millions de dollars. En 2023, nous avons prévu un coût de 5 millions de dollars par année pour le projet.
Merci.
Merci. This is all the time we have today for this media availability. Please note, city staff will be available this afternoon for background interviews once the report goes live. Contact Media Relations for more information. C'est tout le temps que nous disposons aujourd'hui pour cette point de presse. Veuillez noter que le personnel de la Ville sera disponible cet après-midi pour des entrevues de fond. Une fois que le rapport sera publié, veuillez contacter les relations médias pour plus d'infos. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, everyone. Merci beaucoup.